All right, everyone, welcome back to Far From Perfect. We have Coach Lisa back on the show today. And if you have done In Your Element, Revive, Lift to Get Lean back in the day, Lift to Get Lean Perimenopause edition, or you are in our monthly community, you already know Miss Lisa DeLuca. I've been thinking a lot about this lately. I invite experts onto the podcast, and you are the expert. Like, I don't need to reach out to anyone else for perimenopause help. I don't need to reach out to anyone else for gut health. I don't need to reach out to anyone else for body composition changes because you are the expert in that field and you live and breathe everything that you coach. So welcome back to the show, Lisa.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So we were just talking before we hit record, and I know you've been on recently, but honestly, it's been about a year since we talked about perimenopause stuff. And I just wanted to pick your brain, like over the last few rounds of Revive that we ran this year and with your own clients, what are some of the common themes that you are seeing with women who start to work with you and or
Great question. I feel like a lot of women come to us, you know, in the throes of perimenopause, whatever they've been doing is no longer working. Their bodies are changing and they don't know how to stop the changes. And, we're offering them a new way to approach it. And my favorite thing is a lot of the people after they've gone through Revive, it said how amazing the program was because of how we explain it, how we make it small, actionable steps that they can actually do. Like, we're not asking anyone to overhaul their lives in 8 weeks, right? We're giving you small, actionable steps. And probably the biggest thing we see is a mental change in women. So I feel like a lot of people are coming to us from that really frustrated spot that maybe they're ashamed of their bodies, and getting them to a place to just meet their bodies where they are and work with what they've got to get where they want to go.
I love that. And it's so true. What I love is offering relief. I mean, you and I, we have both been in that place of frustration, right? Perimenopause, nobody was talking about it when you went through it. Like Lisa, she's not a millennial. Like all these millennials, I love you. Thank you for listening. Like you have all these big sisters ahead of you. Lisa didn't have that. I know you've already shared your perimenopause story, but briefly, can you explain like what your body did?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know that I was in perimenopause because all I thought was when, okay, you stop having your periods is menopause, right? And so I knew when my periods got wonky that I was probably there, but I didn't recognize any of the signs and signals that were happening way before I got to that stage, which, for me was I had horrible acne, like the big hormonal cyst all over the bottom of my face where, it got to the point where I didn't really want to be seen in public. Thankfully, my hairstyle, I literally would try to keep my hair covering my face as much as possible because there's no hiding all that. I'm a very happy, chill person. I was one angry biatch at that period. And it wasn't me, right? And I was able to hold it together at work. But by the time I got home to my family, there was nothing left. Like, I didn't even recognize how awful I was to them. And like that bothered me so greatly. Other random things, I stunk. My body odor changed, like no deodorant was saving me. Like it was crazy. The sleep, I thankfully never had hot flashes or night sweats, but for me, it's harder to fall asleep. I couldn't shut my brain off. Gosh, it's been so long. My last period was March 2019. So I officially became postmenopausal during COVID lockdown. It's like the world shut down and so did my reproductive life.
Sweet freedom. So I know people can totally relate to that. I know for me, that anxiety or the mood swings or just my general anger. Like also, I'm like you, I'm a happy person, but I was shocked at some of my behaviors. And then of course the thing you've heard me talk about that was my biggest red flag was my hair was falling out, and that made me very scared, and I did not know what to do, and I knew at that point I needed to do something. But those people who are listening to this, like what I love is when they come to us and there are legit some small actionable things that women can implement right away that will help alleviate some of their systems So, to the woman who works your regular job, maybe is working out or maybe is not, just like all of our clients, what are they doing before they come to us? What does their life look like before we get our hands on?
My gosh. Well, I mean, I'll describe my life before, I knew I learned better. So I would wake up at 4:30 in the morning to work out. I would work out fasted. I would then rush through my shower, rush through getting ready, throw my breakfast together, rush out the door, eat my breakfast in the car, stressed out in rush hour traffic, get to work, rushed because I was probably late because of the rush hour traffic. And then, just go nonstop until it was time to go, usually at 6, rush home in rush hour traffic to take child to after, school activity, rush home, eat dinner, get ready for bed and do it all over again. And, I definitely wasn't eating enough. I was exercising too much and I was constantly in a state of fight or flight.
Yeah. And like that is our women. And unfortunately, that is a normal day for 90%, I think, of women, either before they get to us or maybe some of our current clients. I made a reel yesterday saying, I hate to break it to you, but it's not your hormones. And I hate sending that message because I wish it was just the hormones. But honestly, the lifestyle changes are going to be easier. It's easier in one way or another. You have more control over your lifestyle than you do your hormones. That's a better way to say that. So before people come to us, they aren't eating enough. And you see this all the time. I see it on all the intake forms. You see it. What do the majority of the people who come in, what does their diet look like?
I mean, easily eating, you know, 1,500 calories a day, thinking that's a lot. Um, living on a lot of, snack type items, things you can eat on the go, definitely not eating enough protein or enough fiber and vegetables, whole foods, not drinking enough water, drinking too much alcohol, probably not accounting for the alcohol in their calories. Lots of coffee, lots of caffeine. And none of that is helping the situation. It's all like throwing gasoline onto the fire.
Yeah, it's like it's our lifestyle that's making our perimenopause worse. And I get it. Those convenience foods, I was thinking as you were listing out your day, Lisa, I was like, well, at least she was eating breakfast because that is honestly better than most. Like you get to your work day. I know I'm talking to a ton of people right now. You get to your work day, you don't eat until lunch. Well, maybe you don't even eat lunch because you got pulled into a meeting or your emails are out of control or you have a salad or a protein bar. I mean, you can see why when you go home, you can't control anything. There's no way you're eating enough protein throughout that day. And I think the reason, like everyone listening, they know they need to eat enough protein, but it's having the protein available. I can't go buy a box of protein besides protein bars, but that's great once in a while and maybe once a day, but we can't live off protein bars. There's the preparation that has to happen. We have to make the time to either prepare the meals ourselves or outsource it, right? Because it's the only way. Protein is such an easy fix. What are the benefits of eating protein throughout the day?
Oh my goodness. And let me know what I'm forgetting. But protein, takes longer to digest. So it's more satiating. It'll keep us fuller longer. By starting our day with, a solid dose of protein, we're helping stabilize our blood sugar. I mean, for people who, start their day with a bowl of cereal, that's you're starting your day with a sugar bomb for the most part, right? Or a bagel. Like I used to be guilty of that. That would be like my breakfast. But having that big solid dose of protein, 30 to 40 grams, will really help stabilize your blood sugar as you start your day. And again, by eating protein throughout the day, we're keeping our blood sugar from spiking up and down with just eating carbs. And it's providing that energy. And of course, it helps gives us some mental clarity. It helps gives us, longer term energy. And of course, it's helping fuel our muscles, right? For those work.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and I like to be very clear, like, it's not that we don't want to eat carbohydrates, because that's the other thing. You're not eating enough protein. but you're also not eating enough carbohydrates. You're like, well, how does that make sense? How do protein and carbohydrates come into the picture? Why do we need both? And you might, if you need to talk about fats in this conversation, go ahead and talk about why we need all three macronutrients.
Yeah. I mean, let's start with that. So that's an easy one because I see a lot of times in macro forms, like women eating like 35, 40 grams of fat. And, I know low fat was the deal in the 80s, but we need healthy fats for our hormones. And if you're already in perimenopause hell and not eating enough fat, like you're not even giving your body enough resources to make the estrogen, make the progesterone. So you definitely want, I would say, at least 60 grams of healthy fats. But we need the protein, obviously, for our muscles, right? No one wants to be 65 and breaking a hip. And because muscle protects our bones. So we definitely don't want to sacrifice our muscle mass. But we need carbs. Carbs is the preferred fuel source for our brains. And keto might be great for men. My husband was that way. But women are different and we need carbohydrates. And when I say carbohydrates, I'm thinking fruits, vegetables, potatoes, oats. I'm not talking about Doritos, boxes of mac and cheese, things like the processed stuff. I'm talking whole food sources of carbohydrates because they also provide fiber that our body needs, our gut microbiome needs, as well as tons of micronutrients, vitamins, minerals that our bodies need to do the functions our body needs to do. Because if we don't give our body what it needs, it will start breaking down our muscles, our tissues to get at those raw materials to keep us alive.
And that is why, my friends, you can't get lean because you are robbing yourself of the muscle that you need to look lean. So like if you're listening to this or you send this to your friends, you are a follower of elemental coaching or me or Lisa, I know you want to be lean. We want you to be lean and shredded and muscular and strong and all those things. But if you are not protecting that muscle, you're not going to be able to get it. And I just want to run through some numbers real quick. So let's say on a good day, Lisa, someone is eating 100 grams of protein before they come to us. So 100 times 400 calories. Let's say they're only eating 50 grams of fat. Okay, because low fat is good. Fat is bad. Bad for my heart, clogs my arteries. Okay, that's 450. Whoa, I just lost my pen. Carbohydrates. What would be a decent number for carbohydrates, you think, that a normal person is eating?
I probably see 140.
Okay, 140 carbs times 4 plus 450 plus 400. That is 1,400 calories. Not nearly enough to sustain your body, your processes, your brain. You guys, your brain needs 125 grams of carbohydrates a day to operate. So like by you doing less than 100 grams of carbohydrates, you're not doing anyone in your life any favors. This is what happens. And then the thing is, you're like, but I'm only eating 1,400 calories. Why am I gaining weight? Can you explain that, Lisa?
Yeah. So I mean, a couple of different things are going on. So as we touched on, like our body will break down our muscle mass to get the raw materials it needs, the amino acids. So you're getting fatter. As you lose muscle mass, like your body composition, you're technically becoming fatter. So there you go. That's a big one. If you're eating that little all the time, your body's stressed. It is stressed on top of all the stress of life. Your cortisol is probably through the roof, which is adding the belly fat. So, I mean, those are two big things really contributing to a poorer body composition than, what you're trying to do.
I mean, yeah, you hit the nail on the head, and I hope I can get that clip. Yeah. You're getting fat. And this is not to fat shame. You're changing your body composition in the exact opposite way that you want, also regulating your metabolism. And then guess what? So you're eating 1,400 calories, 1,500 calories on a good day. Holidays roll around, weekend rolls around, girlfriend comes over, girls' night out, date night, birthday, bam, vacation, you name it. Then you eat either a normal amount or more than you would normally eat. Like, let's say 2,200 calories, which you and I can eat 2,200 calories, no big deal. But if your metabolism is maintaining your weight at best at 1,400, and you were consistently then eating 2,200 for a week or a few months or every weekend, you're putting yourself in a surplus. So like you think you're under eating, but it's a combination of under eating and then overeating, which is setting you in an overall surplus. So this is why the thing with macros, and macros is not the end all be all. It's an amazing tool to learn how to feed yourself, to understand the value of food. But most of us aren't consistently eating enough. And can you talk about the power of consistently feeding your body?
Yeah, that's like where the magic happens. I mean, once you get to that point where your body can now trust you, that you are going to feed her consistently, a consistent amount. So then your body can actually start to use the food that you're giving it. So if you are eating, like in this example, 1,400 calories like Monday through Friday, and then you eat 2,200 on the weekend, your body's going to like hang on to that. You know, we want to save this. We're going to need these resources because we're not going to get enough. So once, and it's it takes a little bit of adjustment, right? You start to eat more, your body starts to trust you, then it starts to use it. You might notice that you have more energy, right? You with your hands more, you're blinking more, you're walking around faster. You don't even notice these things, but your body knows what to do. And, its whole goal, like I said, is to keep us alive. It doesn't really care what we want to look like. And it's not going to change our physique for the better when it's not getting what it needs. But when you're giving your body enough resources, then your body can start to build muscle. That can change your body composition. It can make you look leaner and be leaner.
And you guys, like this applies to you. I know as you listen to this, you think to yourself, yeah, that worked for her. Yeah, I'm different. Yeah, trust me, we see this every single round of Revive. Every time a one-on-one client comes in, every time someone moves into our monthly community, once you start feeding yourself enough consistently, you start seeing those changes that you want. Now, I do want to touch on the fact that let's say you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, but I need to lose 15. Like I legit, for health reasons, I am weighing in 15 pounds heavier than healthy weight for me. But what if, Lisa, I'm not in a spot? What if I'm not in a spot to move into a caloric deficit because I am eating 1,400 calories? What is my course of action?
Yeah, I mean, you need to get healthy first. Like we can't force our bodies to release weight. We just can't. If you're eating 1,400 calories, if you go down to 1,000, will you lose some weight? Sure. Probably going to lose a lot of muscle mass, which again makes you better in the end. So you probably need to invest in yourself and give yourself at least 6 months, if not a year, eating enough, getting your body healthy, getting your hormones in a good spot, because a healthy body is a responsive body, as you like to say all the time. And so, once you start eating more, you'll probably start moving more. I know a lot of your listeners know about the thermic effect of food. You start burning more. Some people might see their body composition improve as they eat more, and then get yourself in a good spot. So then you can do a fat loss phase and lose the weight. But remember, fat and weight are different.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, Lisa just had a tremendous example of this with one of her one-on-one clients. The other thing we see, you guys, when I say you are not special, that means that you are not alone. And that is really what it means. Whatever you're experiencing, I promise you, me and Lisa have heard about it. There is going to be another woman in our community, or Lisa has worked with another person who is going through all those exact same things. She has the same life stressors in her life. Now, another big blanket thing that we see nowadays, and it's really freaking scary to me, is all the gut issues. Because you're not going to be able to lose weight until you focus on your gut. So I would love to you to share, your most recent successful client story of spending time working on her gut and then approaching fat loss. Can you just talk about Carrie for a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it always comes down to health comes first. Health comes before body composition goals. And even in the case of the person who has 15 pounds to lose, if you're not losing at the 1,400 calories, we need to get you in a healthy spot in order to do so. So Carrie had done, our Revive program. And when she filled out the form, she was one of the people I'm like, I really don't think you should be in a fat loss phase. I think you need to eat more. She wasn't ultra marathoner. She does a lot of running. She definitely needed to be eating more, not eating less. And, through Revive, we got her in a reverse diet, eating more. Then she decided to work with me one-on-one. And, she had gut issues. I mean, she was actually working with another practitioner on the issues, but working with me to focus on the diet. So her whole goal was I needed to get healthy. I needed to be in a better spot, put her physique goals off to the side. And we focused on eliminating the dairy, eliminating the gluten, minimizing the sugar, no other changes, like still eating the same amount, still exercising the same amount, work stress, still crazy. And you've seen the pictures over 1 month, she lost so much inflammation. She lost a couple inches off her waist, not a huge difference in the scale at all, but it was all that inflammation leaving her body. And, she said she had tried it before, but this time she was mentally ready to commit and noticed how good she was feeling. It was easy. Once she thought about where she was going to make her swaps, where she was going to get her protein from, because she was someone who liked her Greek yogurt and cheese. Well, when you're eliminating dairy, they go by the wayside, and there's not really a dairy-free substitute with enough protein. So switched up her diet. And then, we lived in maintenance like that for a good 6 months, just keeping her body healthy, learning how to eat. She travels a lot for work. So navigating, traveling with work, a lot of times she would get Airbnb with kitchen, or she'd get a hotel and ask for a mini fridge and a microwave. A lot of times she'd go to New York. So she started to target which restaurants would be good sources of food for her, being dairy-free and gluten-free. And so learned how to navigate. Not perfect, right? If you're going out, you're doing things, but consistent. She was consistent, and then decided, okay, I'm ready. I feel good. I'm ready to do fat loss phase. And she was. And her body responded amazingly well. Overall, she lost 6 inches off her waist with working with me. And again, not perfect. She travels a lot, so she's not bringing her food scale when she goes traveling for work. She's following what we call the 5 habits, like eating to 80% full and focusing on protein and veggies. She also travels for fun. So things like that came up. But again, consistent. And then started to reverse diet, and her body still responded well. She still got leaner. Scale didn't change, but still got leaner because you could see it in the photos while she was eating more. And so to me, that just really proves it. When you take the time to focus on your health first, get your body in a good spot, then if you pull that fat loss trigger, your body's much more likely to respond the way you want it to. Because again, we can't force our bodies to respond.
No. And we see this time and time again. I have been floored by the members in our monthly community who have invested that time in living in maintenance. Like, they didn't just do the reverse diet. They did the reverse diet and they've been living in maintenance, and they honestly lose like 12 pounds in a fat loss phase. And I understand for some of you that doesn't seem like a lot of weight, but the women who are losing 12 pounds, like, that's a very appropriate and a significant amount of weight for them to lose. And it had been a while since we saw results like that, because we were still getting up to speed on our method. We weren't as firm as, no, you can't go right back into fat loss. But they have taken that message and they have implemented it, and they are reaping the rewards. But I do want to point out, like, that is hard. Like, saying, I will put my physique goals aside. What's the alternative? I mean, I think that's just the question you have to ask yourself. Well, I could try this again 3 more times and not get anywhere, or like, do it once and do it well.
I mean, you've heard me say it a lot of times, like, you need to do the opposite. If what you've been doing isn't giving you the result, then you need to do something else. You probably need to do the opposite to get the result. And with Carrie, the one thing that was amazing, she was one of those women very hyper focused on her midsection. And, she, oh, I'm never going to be able to wear a 2-piece again, whatever. And I remember what email she had sent. She's like, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to worry about it. I can't control it. Then her midsection started changing. Like, she had released the pressure of focusing on this one body part, and it actually started to change after that, when she started to put her energy elsewhere. And so, because we can't spot reduce, I mean, she also had twins. So, I mean, it is what it is. But, when you let go, or I forget how you said it, not give up, but it was like you release, I forget the word. you just kind of go with the flow and stop trying to control everything. That's where the magic it kind of happen.
It really is. It really is. And I know that sounds strange because we're talking about macros and things of that nature, but the way you do it, like our approach to macros, I feel is so sustainable for those who are in that phase of where they're tracking their macros. A lot of people say to us, I don't know if I can track macros. I've had a bad experience in the past. It brings up disordered eating. It brings out whatever in me. And I'm like, I just want you to do what you need to do. But I'd love for you to see our approach to macros because it's easy breezy. We want you to be compliant, but we aren't drill sergeants. But also, like, this is a little bit out there, but Lisa and I are both a little bit out there. Truly, if you just keep focusing on this one area of your life, you are literally making a mountain out of a molehill. Like, what you focus on expands. So if all you're saying is, my stomach is gross, my stomach is fat, my stomach is ugly, my stomach is this, yep, that's exactly what you're going to get. Like, you have to place your focus elsewhere.
And you also will miss all the other amazing body composition changes happening, right? And that's where, I love when people share their photos with us because we are all focused on an area, right? But when I could look at a photo and be like, oh my gosh, do you see your shoulders? Like, do you see your butt? Like, do you see any of these things? Because you're just looking at your stomach. And, we all hold fat in different places. And, for people who are focused on abs, I feel lucky because I don't hold as much there, but I'm never going to have those lean, shredded thighs. Like that is where my fat is. And I accept that. I'll do the best I can. But like, am I ever going to see like the cuts in my quads? No. But other people are. And if you're only focusing on your stomach, you're going to miss how amazing the rest of your body looks. And
So
I
true.
think it all comes down to, and I know we've been talking about this a lot lately, nervous system regulation, right? So if you are constantly focused and stressed over this body part, you're constantly stressed. Like your body gets the signal. And, none of these changes are going to happen when your body is constantly stressed, whether it's releasing fat, working on your gut issues, like all of it is tied together. That's like the root of it.
It really is. And that is why you have to take the holistic approach. You got to look at it from 360 degrees because most people listening to this have tracked their macros, are lifting weights. If you're not where you want to be, you have to take a look at what's actually going on. And then, everyone is different in that. But what would you think, Lisa? What do you think are the common reasons why people aren't where they want to be, even though they are tracking macros? At what level, meaning maintenance or fit 1400? I don't know. So they are tracking macros, they are lifting weights in some way, but they aren't getting the results that they want. What are the missing factors?
Yeah. I mean, with the lifting weights, we know there are people who say they lift weights, but they've been lifting the same 10-pound pink dumbbells forever. So, are you lifting in a progressive overload way where you're constantly challenging your muscles to actually change? So that would be something to look at. Again, we already talked about feeding yourself enough so you can grow muscles. But I mean, to me, it'll come down to your health. If you are constantly stressed, and the way I described my life was go, 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 I'm not digesting my food well because I'm never in the sympathetic state. If I'm not digesting my food well, I'm not absorbing the necessary nutrients that my body needs to do its functions to live optimally. So it's going to be breaking down tissue and breaking down muscle. And, you're going to have a ton of gut issues. If your gut's messed up, you're definitely not absorbing the nutrients. And if your gut's messed up and you're not pooping, you're not getting rid of the waste, you're reabsorbing that. And it's all tied together, unfortunately.
Yes. And so, like, Lisa and I can look at this and it's so obvious to us, but it's not obvious to you because you're too close to it. There are things in Lisa and I's life, like I can't speak for Lisa, but I know there's things that I'm too close to that I need someone's outside perspective. Like someone can look at what I have going on and they could be like, all you gotta do is this and this and this. Why are you making it so hard, Kylie? Why are you making it so hard? That is where we come in because it is so obvious to us. Like with the gut stuff, there's so much talk around gut health and all this stuff. And I know when I have had gut issues in the past, it is a little bit overwhelming. But Lisa just gave an amazing presentation in our monthly community about gut health. And my big takeaway was, well, if I just slow down, take a few breaths before I eat more vegetables, I'll be fine. I don't need to do an elimination. I don't need to spend a ton of money on supplements. It is a few small tweaks that will help me be less bloated, less gassy, get the nutrients I need from food, go to the bathroom more regularly. It's not rocket science, but because of the frustration that we feel and how close we are and the results that we want, I mean, I feel it in other areas of my life, you guys. So I totally get it. But it's like, don't you think, Lisa, like a big chunk of gut issues would be solved by just slowing down?
Totally, because that takes stress off of you. And I can't tell you how many times I've done it, like before a meal, like, okay, I got to just close my eyes and breathe for a minute and like kind of disengage from everything before I start eating. And it makes a world of difference. Otherwise, I'm going to inhale my food. It's going to sit like a rock in my stomach. I'm going to feel awful. And that's not any way to live either. But kind of going back to what you said about having someone look at what you're doing and be like, of course, this is what you do. The flip side of it is that sometimes you know what to do. It's like, but I just don't know how to get there. Like, this is what needs to be done, but what are the steps to actually to do that? And
Yeah,
so that's where also someone with a fresh set of eyes can be like, oh, well, these are the baby steps to that big step.
right. I know. It really does help to get that strategy. Like you said, Lisa, if what you're doing isn't working and you keep doing it, why? Why? And again, I'm sure there's areas in your life, Lisa, where you do this. I know there's areas in my life where I'm doing it. But at some point or another, you got to get sick of your own stuff and be like, I need help. And you've got to like invest in this stuff because clearly doing it on our own isn't. No. Well, one last thing before like we sign off, I want to keep this one like, you know, just really brief and to the point is this morning we were talking in our coaches group chat about, some beliefs that women have. And as I'm thinking about this as someone who is frustrated sometimes, it sucks when what you're doing isn't working and you feel like you are doing everything right and you're not getting the results that you want. So then that makes your inner dialogue turn to, I can't do this. I'm always going to be overweight. I'm never going to shed this perimenopause weight. All of these things, along with the shame. I don't know if I think it was you that brought that up of failing, not wanting to be seen. And, a lot of you listening, you have big girl jobs. You have to be seen. You got to get up in front of the board of directors. You got to get up in front of the classroom. You got to get up in front of whomever. It's hard to do that when you don't want to be seen. So what do you say to those people, Lisa, that are feeling all those things, the guilt, the shame, the should?
Oh my gosh, should is a word that needs to be like banned from vocabulary. But first thing I usually say is, would you ever say any of that to your best friend? No, like you never would. And so just first treating yourself like your own best friend. And when you start to hear those negative thoughts, like shut the mean girl up and say something kind that you would actually say to your best friend.
Yeah. I was actually on a coaching call for something else this morning, and she said something very similar. You're not saying them out loud, maybe. Text them, write them down in a text and act like you're going to send it to either yourself or someone else and just see how mean those thoughts are. And I hope that might be a catalyst to start changing those thoughts. Because the other thing is, like, yes, small tweaks are going to make a huge bit of difference. But the thing that you're not looking for, it's this. It's the mindset. It's the self-talk. It's the limiting beliefs. That's ultimately holding you back. You don't try something new because you don't believe it will work for you. You don't believe ultimately that you can be successful. And so you don't. I'm not going to sign up for another program. I'm not going to invest in another coach. The last one didn't work for me. What I have to say about that. Let's talk about your other new clients. Because she swapped coaches for Lisa. And can you just tell us what you're doing with her? We don't need to say names or anything.
Yeah, I mean, when we first had our discovery call, she was starting to really listen to what her body was saying. And, in perimenopause, things changed, right? Like you can't keep doing what you were doing. And she was, because that's, the program, and it just wasn't serving her. And so we talked about kind of dialing things back a little bit, less cardio, less time working out, more time resting, more carbohydrates, and just trying to get your body back in balance. And so that's like the focus, to just try to get her body back in a happy spot where, her health is prioritized.
And it's really interesting because while we do kind of have ideal clients and we kind of have what they call an avatar, hate it, we actually work with several different types of women. And I believe the common thread, Lisa, is that they know there's a better way and they want to do it the right way. Because we do have the woman who does need to lose 80 pounds, right? We have her and we can help her. We also have the woman who is maybe overdoing things, maybe was a former competitor. Like Lisa and I both have that. We did that. But for some reason, you still cling to those 5 workouts a week, cardio every day, low carb. But that isn't serving us at all. And getting someone to switch from that is honestly harder, I think, than getting the woman who needs to lose 100 pounds, 80 pounds to change her daily habits. I don't know. What's your thoughts?
Completely, because that's what's the norm, right? We're supposed to eat less and we're supposed to exercise, but telling someone to exercise less and eat more because that's what's best for you, that's hard because you're going against the grain, you're going against everything that you've been taught, you're going against everything that's probably worked for you before. So again, it comes down to the mental changes.
Yep, it really does. And just being open to trying something new. I read a book this year, you guys. I talked about it with Cynthia Thurlow. It's by Adam Grant and it's called Think Again. And because we are talking to that intelligent woman, I want you to know it's a sign of intelligence to be able to change your mind. And so sometimes you gotta honor and acknowledge, okay, I don't know what's going on here. This isn't working. I'm going to try something new. I'm going to follow what Lisa says because she knows what's best for me. And that's the thing. Lisa has your best interest at heart. She wants you to be more successful, not more than you, because if we're more concerned with your success than you are, it's never going to work out. But as much, just as much. Yeah.
My big
Otherwise, I don't have any clients to talk about. Lisa didn't get results. Great. But it's not all on Lisa, right? It's a partnership. But you got to trust someone that you're working with. And I don't know. I think that's really important. So,
Yeah, my big thing is you have to just meet your body where it is and meet your lifestyle where it is. Like I could tell you to, you need to meal prep every Sunday, but if that's not your life, well, that's not going to help you any. So we need to listen and find the action steps that'll work for an individual because everyone's individual.
absolutely. That's something that Jake and I talked about on our last podcast because, someone will come to you with a picture of Instagram, like, I want to look like her. Well, is your lifestyle like hers? Does she meal prep every Sunday? She likes to do whatever. Like, is that realistic for you? We have to find a way for you. And yeah, you don't have to worry about doing it like anyone else. We're going to find a way to help you get successful. So, Lisa, I believe you have some one-on-one coaching spots available. Do you?
Yes. Think we're looking at, I think we said like 3 or 4.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. So, you guys, if you want to work with Lisa one-on-one, she's available. She can help with the gut stuff. Can you talk just briefly about what that looks like?
Yeah. Again, that's such an individual process because some people, so basically I need to meet your body where it is, right? Some people might just simply need to do a 30-day elimination diet, get the stressors out, like give their body time to calm down. Some people, might have bigger issues that we might need to do the stool test to really see what's going on and start to peel back the layers. Sometimes with people, like we were talking about, it's just lifestyle and nutrition. Okay, let's talk about where you are, what's going on, what tweaks can we make to get your body into a healthier spot. So it's much more, I think, nuanced than what we do with like nutrition and fitness. But again, everyone's so individual. We just need to figure out like what are the pain points, literally, and what are some action steps that person is willing and able to take.
Absolutely. Well, Lisa, thank you so much for your time and thank you for taking such great care of our clients and sharing your knowledge. It's awesome to see how you've evolved
Like
in the last 19 to 20, 2021, 22, 23,
5+
right,
years.
5+ years. You guys, 5 years. Okay, I have one last question because I can't stop. I just want to know, talk about that. Like, How do you feel that you've evolved in the last 5 years?
It's a great question. I feel like I have evolved more from worrying about what I look like to what I feel like. I'm much more focused on health. And, I realized that the other week I posted a flexi and I'm like, God, I can't even tell you the last time I did one. I used to do one like multiple times a week, checking
Yeah.
myself in the mirror, taking pictures. I'm like,
Yeah.
I haven't. That has not been my focus. I still focus on nutrition. I still focus on lifting and all the things, but it's more about my overall health and just like my overall wellness and happiness. And, if my body's 5 pounds heavier, no one knows. I don't really care. Is it? I don't know. I mean, it fluctuates. I do a muscle building phase. I don't like but I've actually just been in maintenance now for like 2 years and I don't have another. Like, I just want to get stronger and be the best version of me now, which is kind of freeing to not worry about all the other stuff as much.
It really is. And you might not be there yet, meaning listener, but that is what's available to you. And I can echo the same thing. My camera roll has changed significantly in the last 7 years, to the point of where I would almost be embarrassed about 7 years ago, right? But now it's my cat. I take some pictures of myself to post on Instagram, but it's different. It's totally different. And I echo what you say. And the thing is, you guys, when you get to that place where that focus starts to shift, everything starts to fall into place. And I would say, I can't put words in your mouth, but like, you have other things to focus on now, like being an awesome coach, doing all the other things that you're doing. We can't always have so much tied up into what do I look like and all of this stuff.
Exactly.
That's a conversation for another day, which we'll have to have. Okay, Lisa, thank you so much. Let's say I do want to work with you. How do I get a hold of you?
Yeah, I mean, the easiest way is probably through Instagram, I'm at Lisa M. DeLuca, or through Elemental Coaching's page.
Yeah.
Easiest ways.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys. So I'll put everything, how to get a hold of Lisa and all that she has to offer in the show notes. So check those out. Lisa, have an awesome rest of your day. Tell the
Okay.
girls hi for me. Tell Tammy and Kathy hi for me. And I'll see you soon.
Sounds good.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.